Welcome to video number 2, which is about the new fantasy changes. So every game week we think about what transfers we want to implement, whether we want to use our wildcard, selection of the first 11, captain choice, or all of the substitutes. However, this time in fantasy, there are so-called more dimensions to think about. All-out attack, triple captain, and bench boost. In this video, I'm going to discuss each of these benefits in detail, what kind of things you should be thinking about when executing them. So the first one, all-out attack. This gives you the option of playing a formation of 2-5-3. Now, if you have defensive injuries in which you're limited, so you can only play 2 defenders, then this is probably a great option to exercise. It should be mentioned you're only allowed a minimum of 3 defenders normally. However, injuries might not be the only reason as to why you might use this. If you feel your defenders have particularly bad fixtures, then again, you might want to consider using all-out attack. However, it should be mentioned it says 2-5-3, so 5 midfielders, 3 strikers. So that particular game week, the free transfer you do get, you might want to consider investing that into your midfield, into your strike, to ensure that you have 5 midfielders and 3 strikers that are actually playing. Lastly, my last comment is something that I do want to stress regarding fantasy football, is most of your points in fantasy are gained offensively, so from your midfielders or your strikers. So the most expensive defender in this game is probably around £7 million, and that's nowhere near the most expensive midfielder and striker. And the reason for this is because most of your points are supposed to be gained from your midfielders and strikers, which is why, for instance, there isn't a park or bus. For instance, there's not that option available. It's all out attack for that very reason. Now, option number 2 is triple captain, and as it says in its name, traditionally the captain gets you double the game week points. However, this time you triple the points, and this can be quite devastating. If you get a player who gets you 20 points, double 40, triple 60. That's extra 20 added to your game week score. Now, timing and instinct is very key in this. End of the day, it's down to you who you think is bound to get points for that particular game week. However, with triple captain and even bench boost, which I'm going to discuss, double game weeks are very important. Now, in double game weeks, some teams have 2 games, and using a triple captain can essentially get you a player who plays 6 games for that particular game week. So as you can see, timing of the triple captain is very important, which player, but also waiting for that double game week might be wise. Now the third benefit, which is bench boost. This allows you to play all your players. This includes your second goalkeeper and your other 3 players on the bench. Now, this stresses the important point that I want to make about having a functioning team, not just a functioning first 11, which is why you must have a team where all your players essentially play. However, you can essentially also stockpile for a particular game week where you want to use this option. And similarly, again, like I mentioned with triple captain, a double game week is probably a great time to use bench boost, because you can get players in the teams who have 2 fixtures, in that particular game week. And lastly, you might want to consider combining the option of triple captain and bench boost for that particular game week. So, like I will say, in my personal opinion, you want to be using triple captain and bench boost in those double game weeks. I don't think it's that wise to use them in a game week when every team has 1 fixture. That's my personal opinion, because in double game weeks, there's a much more greater possibility of getting more points. However, all-out attack, I think, end of the day, boils down to the situation you happen to be in a particular game week. If you happen to have defensive injuries, or your defenders have particularly bad fixtures, then all-out attack should be considered. Lastly, this is a very rookie mistake, but never ever play all-out attack and bench boost together, because all-out attack allows you to play 2-5-3. You're limiting the number of defenders. Bench boost allows you to play everyone. A last point I want to make is the kind of league you're in. So if you're in a classic league, essentially you're getting a cumulative score of all your game weeks. Now, it should be very clear, as you're adding all the points from particular game weeks, no game week is more important than the other. The scores are added from all the game weeks. So, triple captain and bench boost, it's really a no-brainer for me. It should be exercised in that double game week. And, all the big teams are involved in a double game week. Last year, Chelsea, Arsenal, for instance. and this is mainly due to Champions League games, cup games, etc. However, if you're in a head-to-head league, now this is something worth considering if you want to use the triple captain and bench boost for those particular final stages, so the semi-final or the final. Now those game weeks may not be double game weeks, unfortunately. However, that's something worth considering, because if you have these two things left for a semi-final and final, it's almost certain that you're going to do very well if you play it right. So, however, that can have a negative influence on your classic leagues. But these are things to think about. So, those are my views on these three new I call them benefits. And yeah, thank you for watching my video.